with my screen there. So on to our featured presenter. Today we have Jennifer Knath, Director of Sales for Safari Legacy, and Henry Moticia, Director of Operations with Safari Legacy. Safari Legacy has been creating legendary safaris since 1967, specializing in small group and special interest safaris with a focus on conservation and education. And they'll be reviewing two of our tours today, Best of Kenya and Best of Tanzania. Welcome, Jennifer and Henry.
Hi, everyone.
All right, I'm going to stop. Oh, I forgot to share my screen, but go ahead. You can start and share your screen, Jennifer.
Okay. Okay, let me find it. Bear with us here. Can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Oh,
Did you hit share?
yeah, it's getting there.
Okay.
It says it's uploading it. I wonder why I didn't do that before.
I don't know. Do you want me to try at my end or?
Yes, go ahead and try at your end, and because it's doing something different than we did before. Can you get it from? Oh wait, here we go. Can you see it now?
Hang on. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, that was mine. So try again, Jennifer.
Okay. No, it's not working.
Okay, here, let me try it.
Okay.
All right, can you see that?
I can see that. Can every?
I can.
Okay. Let me begin it.
Yes, I can see it.
All right. From the beginning. Okay.
All right. So Regina, I guess I can just say next slide or something.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
Okay. Let me move this around so I can see what I'm doing.
I hit next slide when I shouldn't have.
That's okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jennifer. I'm with Safari Legacy here in the U.S. office, which is in Birmingham, Alabama. Henry is joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. He is our operations director in our East African offices in Nairobi, Kenya, and also in Arusha, Tanzania. So it's very late where Henry is right now. I think it's 11 o'clock p.m. where you are. So he's joining us happily. As Regina was saying, Safari Legacy's been around or in business for a long time, since 1967. And it's basically a family owned and operated company by two people, a family called Chiman Patel and Pratik Patel. And they've been in Africa, for quite a long time, multiple generations. Our focus primarily is on education and conservation, and everything we do is guided throughout, so you're never alone. Everybody is with our guides in each vehicle at all times. So we'll go ahead and start with, I think Tanzania will be the first safari that we'll discuss. All right, I'm ready, Regina. And this is a good example of what one of our vehicles looks like. We basically have the same sort of vehicle in both Tanzania and Kenya, and each vehicle holds 6 people maximum, along with our safari guide. We have pop-up roofs, so that's really good to help with shade, especially on a hot day. This is an interesting picture here. You can see the lion tail inside of the window. I think it actually was touching the traveler's foot. So she got a really incredible experience during this actual wildlife experience. I think this was in the Serengeti. All right, next slide. Just real quick, briefly, here's a map of Tanzania. As you can see, it's located in East Africa. A lot of people think Africa is one big place. It is a very large place, actually. It's a continent. But Tanzania, along with Kenya, are both in East Africa. It is one of the largest countries in East Africa. Actually, is the largest country. 60 million people. Everything that we do on safari is in English. So you don't have to learn Swahili or anything like that, even though you can if you want to. And of course, it's incredible for wildlife viewing, just wonderful habitats, which, you know, the habitat diversity is just off the charts, which basically creates species diversity. So the wildlife viewing is really, really good. Next slide.
Oops, sorry.
That's okay. Here is kind of a brief rundown of the itinerary in Tanzania. We arrive in Tanzania, you depart the US, of course, and then you can fly on either Delta KLM or you can fly on Qatar Airways. Usually we recommend Delta KLM. It just works a little bit better with our itinerary as far as the arrival and departure times. But whenever you choose to arrive, we will definitely be there to meet you at the airport and get you, you know, transferred to the hotel. So you arrive in Tanzania, you go through customs, get your luggage. Our guides are there to meet you outside of baggage claim. And we drive about 45 minutes to Arusha town, and we overnight at the Lake Duluti Lodge. And the next morning, oh, sorry, I can just kind of, you can keep it here and I know the itinerary, I think, by heart. But
Oh, I can go back.
if you want to go back, that's fine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. The next morning we get up, we have breakfast, and then we head out on our first safari experience. We drive a couple of hours from Arusha to Tarangire National Park. And Tarangire is known for its baobab trees, its large herd of elephant. It's got some good swamps. It's a really, really picturesque park. So we spend 2 nights in Tarangire at Tarangire Kuro treetops, and in a little while we'll show you what the accommodations look like. So we have 2 full days of game drives in Tarangire, and our game drives are usually in the morning and in the afternoon. They're usually pretty long. I mean, anywhere from 3 to 4 hours each game drive. Sometimes we'll stay out for a picnic lunch. Sometimes we'll come back to the lodge and have lunch. And of course, dinner is always at the lodge. After Tarangire, we continue on and drive to the Ngorongoro Highlands. And on the way to the Highlands, we actually stop along the way and maybe do some shopping. Sometimes we'll have lunch at a village, a traditional African lunch. And we just kind of have a leisurely drive to the Highlands. And then we arrive and we stay there at the Ngorongoro Oldiani Mountain Lodge. And the next morning we get up and we head down into the crater, which is about an hour's drive into the crater, the Ngorongoro crater. We stay all day in the crater. So we have a full day there. It's a fascinating place. It's an unbroken caldera. It's a volcanic caldera. And it's almost, we call it a Garden of Eden because there's so many different species of wildlife there. I mean, you can see anything from wildebeest to zebra to lion, cheetah, rhino, black rhino, elephant. I mean, it's just got everything. Hippo, flamingo. The habitat is some of it's savanna, grassland, some of it's wooded like acacia. It's really pretty. So we have a whole day there. We have a really deluxe picnic lunch right in the crater. So when the crater begins to close around 5 or 6 at night, we head back up the crater wall to our hotel, which is the Ngorongoro Oldiani Mountain Lodge, and we overnight. And then the next day, have a early morning breakfast. We travel a little ways to the Olduvai Gorge. I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but it's a geological and archaeological site. It's where some of the oldest hominids were discovered. And so we have a really nice lecture from the museum curator there, and there's a small museum that we go through as well. And then we continue on to the Serengeti. So that day is probably one of our longest drives. You're pretty much driving, I would say, about 5 or 6 hours at a leisurely pace. I mean, there are things to see on the way. And then once we get into the Serengeti, we do a game drive to our camp, which is the Four Seasons Serengeti. And this is in the central Serengeti, which is basically really good for the migration at certain times of the year, especially February, March. Also, wildebeest calves are born in February and early March. And then if you're in October, then the best way or the best area to see the migration in October would be in the western corridor, which we end up there at the end. So we have 2 nights there at the Four Seasons Serengeti, really nice lodge. And then we head from there, we drive to the western corridor, which is more of the central Serengeti is more savanna grassland, which with it's dotted with acacia trees. It's got rocky outcroppings. It's more of a flat terrain, I guess. And then the western Serengeti is more of a wooded terrain with lots of acacias. It's got a river running through it called the Grameti River, known for its Nile crocodiles. So it's sort of a different environment and habitat. And there we overnight at Kirawira Tented Camp, a really nice deluxe tented camp. And so we do morning and afternoon game drives each day in all parks. And at the end, we have a farewell bush dinner under the stars at night. And that gives you a chance to, eat with your guides and get to know them, or just say farewell to them, because the next morning they'll be driving you to the airstrip to put you on a small plane to fly from the western corridor of the Serengeti back to Arusha. And it's a scenic flight. You're actually retracing the safari by air. So you'll get to go over the Ngorongoro crater. You'll get to see the Serengeti. It's really a neat flight. And then you arrive around 1 o'clock in the afternoon in time to go to Cultural Heritage Center and have lunch. It's a neat little museum that you can explore. Wonderful for shopping, for tanzanite, wood carvings, beads. It's a really good place for tanzanite. And they love our groups. And, if anybody is seriously interested in tanzanite, we can, set that arrangement or make sure you have an appointment there with the shop owner. And then we have day rooms at the Lake Duluth Lodge, which will allow a couple hours for you to repack and shower and freshen up before you head to the airport for your flight back to the US. On our Tanzania safari, we have a pre-option to do a Rwanda extension, which is gorilla trekking. And we do that before the Tanzania trip. It's a few days. And then you have a post option in Zanzibar. Zanzibar is in Tanzania. It's an island off the coast of Tanzania. And so you would fly from the Serengeti via Arusha to Zanzibar, and you would have a couple nights in Zanzibar. So you have the pre-option in Rwanda and the post-option in Zanzibar. All right, next slide. This gives you an idea of what the Lake Duluth Lodge looks like in Arusha. Really nice room. Each accommodation is kind of a cottage separate from one another. And it's located right in the middle of a coffee plantation, a very small coffee plantation. So really nice. Next slide. This gives you kind of a little summary of what Tarangire National Park is like. This is the first part that we'll visit. And I forgot to mention, it has great giraffe viewing as well. All right, next slide. In Tarangire, elephants are, you'll definitely see a lot of elephant. And you'll notice the redness of the elephant here. Tarangire, the soil is red, almost like an iron in the dirt. We have a lot of that here in Alabama, but it's, so a lot of the elephants look almost red because they keep themselves cool with throwing the dirt on themselves. So you'll notice a big difference between the Tarangire elephants and then the elephants you see in the crater and also in Serengeti, which they're a little more grayish because that dirt is more kind of black cotton oil, or what they call cotton soil. So that's kind of fascinating. But this just gives you a good example of what an elephant looks like in Tarangire. All right, next. Here is the Tarangire Kuro treetops. It is a permanent tented camp. A permanent tented camp means basically that it's a hotel. It's a hotel under a tent. It's permanent. It doesn't move. You're up on stilts. You have everything we use has private facilities. So all of your, bathroom facilities, shower, everything is inside your actual tent or room, your tented room. And each tent is separate from one another. And so you would walk, to the reception area for your meals and that sort of thing. All right, next. This is a good example of what the Ngorongoro crater kind of looks like. It's a very massive crater, as you can see, and lots of lakes, streams, and there's just tons and tons of wildlife in there. You'll definitely have a chance to see the big five in the crater, and definitely on this safari for sure. The rhino is probably the most elusive, only because there's not very many rhino. They're reintroducing them now. Actually, Safari Legacy is very instrumental in this. The owner of Safari Legacy works with a nonprofit in South Africa that actually brings rhino into Tanzania. So you may have a chance to see black rhino at a distance, or if you get really lucky, it'll be right on the side of the road. Okay, next. And this is a black rhino. They're a little bit different looking than the white rhino, and how you can tell them apart is the lips. A black rhino has more of a pointed lip, and a white rhino has more of a flat, straight lip. So this is in the crater, actually. All right, next. This is the Oldiani Mountain Lodge. This is in the crater, or I'm sorry, in the highlands. So this is your accommodation there for 2 nights. All right, next. Here's a migration route map with the in the Serengeti. As you can see, the migration kind of goes in a cycle or a circle based on month and based on weather pattern. It's based on climate and how tall the grass is. So it's based on food and water. So wildebeest and zebra are typically the animals that migrate. There are always resident animals that stay behind and do not migrate. So it's kind of nature's way of saying, you get to go and you stay. It's fascinating. And so when you get to see a migration, you might see up to 1 million wildebeest and zebra at one time. Sometimes they're running, sometimes they're just grazing, but it's just incredible. So on both of these trips, Michigan State has an October departure and they have a February departure. In 2023, you'll have opportunities to see this migration. And of course, Serengeti means endless plains. And then the Western Corridor, or the Grumeti, we call it kind of the Grumeti section, is home to, it's very difficult to see black rhino there, but it's a more wooded, kind of scrub brush type habitat. Okay. Common zebra, you'll see the common zebra a lot in each park throughout. They'll never get tired of seeing zebra. All right. Leopard, of course, so you'll have opportunities to see leopard in Serengeti for sure, maybe in the crater. At one point, oh gosh, 15 years ago, it was very difficult to see leopard in Tanzania. Now you have a pretty good chance, I'd say about 95%. What do you think, Henry? About 95%, 90% to see leopard. So that's a good thing. So the population has really grown a lot in Tanzania. This is the Four Seasons Serengeti Safari Lodge in the central Serengeti. So you're here for 2 nights. It overlooks a water hole. So on occasion, you can be in the pool. Each accommodation, except for Tarangire, has a pool. So if you want to swim, that's fine. When you come back for lunch, or if before dinner, that's always a possibility. But you can actually be in the swimming pool and look at the water hole and see elephant coming up to the water hole. So it's a neat place. All right. This is Kirawira, which is at the end of your safari in Tanzania. It's a very deluxe tented lodge or tented camp. And of course, everything has in-suite facilities, really nice showers, hot and cold water. You're never roughing it on safari, and the food is really, really good. So it's a very deluxe, luxurious safari. Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about Kenya. Michigan State has a Kenya program going in, I think it's July this year, and then in 2023, it's going to be in August. All right. Map of Kenya. It's located in East Africa. I didn't talk about the climate, actually. That's a good thing. In East Africa, or basically in Tanzania, when you're traveling there in either February or October in this case for Michigan State, their seasons are opposite ours. So our winter is right now, so it's their summertime. So it's warm days, cool mornings and cool evenings, but it's never really hot and it's never really cold. There's no humidity, and that's also the case with Kenya. So in July or August is their winter, which is our summer, and it's a little cooler in July, August. So you've got more of like 60 degrees with 75 to 80 degree days. So again, it's never really hot or never really cold. It is tropical. It is on the equator. So the climate is ideal. I mean, like I said, there's never any humidity. We do not go in the rainy season. I mean, there's always a chance of rain, could occur at any time, but you're not going to be there during the rainy season. Okay. This itinerary, let me just see if I can move my screen. Okay. You arrive into Nairobi, Kenya. Again, Delta, KLM, or even Qatar, British Airways. There's lots of options. There's a little more options in Kenya than in Tanzania. But it's best to try to arrive in the evening and depart in the evening. However, if you can't do that, we can always accommodate it. So that's not really a big deal. So you arrive in Kenya, you go through the customs, baggage claim, and then of course our guides are there to meet you after baggage claim. And then we drive a short distance to the Crown Plaza Hotel and overnight. And then the next morning we get up pretty early and we travel to the train station and we take a train to Voi. It's about a 4-hour train ride. It's really it's a historical train trip to Tsavo West. I don't know if any of you have heard of the book Man-Eaters of Tsavo. It's about in colonial days when the British were building the railroad in Nairobi, and we had lion that, would attack some of the workers. I think it was a movie as well, but it's a really good book. But there's a lot of history in Tsavo West, and our guides will go over that when you're there. From just a war standpoint, a British standpoint, it's fascinating history there. And that park is huge, it's massive, and lots of elephant there. It's not heavily touristed because of the distance. And we're really excited about this itinerary because it adds, you do get that train travel, which is kind of neat. You're kind of going back into time. And of course, our guides, will be with you along the way, and then our guides will meet you on arrival when you get into Tsavo West. We'll be staying at the Taita Hills Wildlife Sanctuary at the Salt Lick Lodge. And then we have, of course, 2 days there where you have morning and afternoon game drives each day. After Taita, after Tsavo, we drive to Amboseli. That's probably our longest drive day. It's a full day of driving, but you're doing a game drive out of Tsavo, and then you're doing a game drive into Amboseli. So it doesn't feel like you're, just driving on a long road trip. So it's an interesting drive with lunch en route. Amboseli, of course, is known for elephant, lots of flamingo population there. It's also known to have the best view of Mount Kilimanjaro, even though Mount Kilimanjaro is in Tanzania. It's hard to see Mount Kilimanjaro a lot of times in Tanzania because you're kind of at the foothills. But when you're in Amboseli, you're looking across the border into Tanzania, and you can see Kilimanjaro really well. And so the accommodation that we use there is called Tortoise, and it has really incredible views of Mount Kilimanjaro. After we have our morning and afternoon game drives for 2 days in Amboseli, we fly from Amboseli to the Masai Mara, and we have 4 nights in the Masai Mara. So that'll give you great opportunities for seeing the migration. And we have split that time into 2 locations in the Masai Mara. So you're not just in one location the whole time. We like to do that. We do that in the Serengeti, where you get the central and the western. And in the Masai Mara, you get the east and the west. We just feel it's important to not stay in one place, so that you can actually have an opportunity, for the best wildlife experiences ever. So in the Masai Mara, you'll be at Intum Tented Camp for 2 nights, and then you'll end up at Sand River Tented Camp for the last 2 nights. Again, morning and afternoon game drives. Your meals are typically, breakfast is always going to be in camp, and then lunch, sometimes you return to camp, and sometimes you have a picnic lunch. And then, of course, the evening meal is always in camp. All of these tented camps or lodges do have bars or like a small bar. There's not a lot of nightlife on safari, but a lot of times groups will gather and they'll have cocktail hour, happy hour, or something like that. And that's definitely always something that happens at night, always optional. On the last day, we fly back to Nairobi from the Masai Mara. Again, it's a really interesting scenic flight. And these are, I don't want to call them bush planes because they're larger than bush planes. I mean, they're depending on the size of the group, they can be a 12-seater, they can be a 26-seater, but they're smaller planes, but they're 2-engine. And it's really a great experience because you're retracing what you've just driven through. So you get to see it by the, from the air. So you get back into Nairobi, and we take you back to the day rooms, you get into Nairobi and you have lunch at Karen Blixen home. If you've seen the movie Out of Africa, you'll have an opportunity to actually visit that home that was in that movie, where Karen Blixen lived there and started her coffee farm. You'll have lunch there, really nice lunch. And then we'll go over to Giraffe Center, and you'll be able to see some of the rehabilitated giraffe that they keep there. And then if it's open, which right now, due to COVID, it's not open, but it's Daphne Sheldrick's Elephant Orphanage. And we're not real sure if they're going to reopen or not. But there are opportunities to see orphaned elephants and things like that if they do decide to reopen that. And then we continue on to our hotel for our day rooms, so you can repack and shower and freshen up before your evening flight back to the US. All right, Regina. This is the Crown Plaza. It's just basically a really nice, hotel. It's outside of Nairobi, and we do that on purpose because Nairobi is so crowded with traffic that if you stay in Nairobi, it takes you 3 to 4 hours to get out of Nairobi. So we try to avoid staying in the city of Nairobi. So this is very close to the airport and close to the train station, and it's just a much better experience. All right. This is what the train looks like when you go from Nairobi to Voi train station and then on to Taita. Some of it's elevated. I think some of it's not elevated. Is that correct, Henry? I haven't seen this actual, I have not done this train experience. But it's very comfortable cars. As you can see, your group will all be together. And it's kind of a fast train. So it's a good experience. All right. A little bit of some of the facts on Tsavo West. It is the largest park in Kenya. Of course, it opened in the 1948, and it's separated by Tsavo East and Tsavo West. Okay. This is one of the unique species of wildlife that you'll actually see in Savo, the fringe-eared oryx, something you don't see all the time. It's an ungulate. An ungulate means it's a hoofed animal or an antelope, you know, like a wildebeest or a zebra. All right. This is Salt Lake Safari Lodge. It's the coolest place ever. This is in Savo West, where you'll stay for 2 nights, and it's up on stilts, these little cottages, because wildlife goes through the camp. Basically, in every location that you're staying, whether it's in Tanzania or in Kenya, we purposely pick accommodations where you're in the wilderness. You're not in huge tourist lodges. You're actually where the wildlife is. So you will have elephant under your room. You'll have an elephant. You'll have hippo come up to your tent flap. I mean, you'll have lion outside. You'll have leopard. So it's just, you're really in the thick of it. It's just a neat experience there. Okay. Amboseli, of course, a great shot of Mount Kilimanjaro, located in the southern part of Kenya. Savo, Amboseli, and the Mara are all in the southern part of Kenya, pretty much. As I said before, it's known for its large herds of elephant and probably the best view of Mount Kilimanjaro. This is a good example of what an Amboseli elephant looks like. As you can see, it's a little bit different than the one in Tarangire. It's a grayer color, like a lighter gray, and it's not red. Lots of elephants in Amboseli. Great photographic opportunities. Okay. This is Tortoise Camp. It's located in Amboseli. Incredible views of Mount Kilimanjaro. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but in the back, you can see it kind of goes to the bathroom facility there. So you have your shower and your bathroom and everything there, hot and cold water. You can, shower anytime. There's 24-hour electricity. I forgot to mention, every morning coffee or tea will be brought to your tent. So you can order that the night before with the camp. They'll come around and they'll ask what you want. So you can wake up to coffee and tea on your veranda before you go to breakfast. Okay. The last park in Kenya that we visit is the Masai Mara Game Reserve. It's actually the northern extension of the Serengeti. The Serengeti is split into 2 countries. So you've got Kenya to the north and you've got Tanzania to the south. So the Mara is a smaller park than the Serengeti. A lot of times during the wildebeest migration, they are concentrated in a smaller area. So it's just wall-to-wall wildebeest. And you can drive through them. It's really, really incredible. Just some facts on the right. The landscape is more of it's kind of like the central Serengeti. It's sort of a savanna grassland. It does have some rolling hills. It does have incredible acacia trees, yellow fever acacia trees, and that sort of thing, and several rivers that run through there. When you have rivers going through, you have lots of wildlife. All right. Cheetah. You'll see cheetah pretty much throughout your safari, off and on. Really fun to watch, especially if you're lucky to see a hunt or them, trying to track down an impala or a Thompson gazelle. Obviously, they're one of the fastest runners of the cat family. They are the fastest, I think 60 miles an hour. So really neat cat. All right. That's just a slide of Masai Mara, like what the wildebeest migration looks like. And of course, you'll have an opportunity to see that. And then also lion. On both Tanzania and Kenya safaris, you have an opportunity to do an optional hot air balloon safari. In the Serengeti, if you're doing Tanzania, and in the Masai Mara, if you're doing Kenya. That is usually done normally the second day you're there in the morning, and it takes the place of a game drive. So while others are doing a game drive, those who have opted to do the balloon safari will do the balloon safari. And so it's a morning experience. You get up at the crack of dawn before the sun is up. You drive to the balloon location. You get to see them getting the balloon prepared. You actually get in the balloon, and the balloons are large. They hold usually about 18 people. So you're all together, and the actual experience up in the air is about 45 minutes to an hour. And, you know, you might have really good opportunities to see good wildlife below. Migration, for example, or elephant, hippo in the river is real common. Then you come back down and you have a champagne brunch. So you'll have a full-blown breakfast or brunch in the middle of the Serengeti or in the middle of the Masai Mara with champagne, and then you return back to your lodge shortly after lunchtime, and then everybody meets back up again before the afternoon game drop. This is one of our camps we use in the Masai Mara, which is called the Intim. It's one of my favorites, actually. So you're here 2 nights in Intim Mara tented camp. Okay. This is a Sand River tented camp. You'll be here the last 2 nights in the Masai Mara. Examples of our vehicles. To the left is our vehicle that you're pretty much in the whole time that you're on safari and driving from park to park. And then on occasion, you'll have an opportunity to be in an open vehicle, which is what it looks like on the right, to do some game drives in certain areas. So that gives you a really good view of what they look like. Okay, and these, let's see if I can move my thing out of the way so I can read this. Okay, so Michigan State is offering 2 safaris this year in 2022. They are $49.50 per person plus international air. Normally the safari, these are luxury safaris, and normally the safari would be around $8,500 per person. But because the family who owns Safari Legacy, they have really good relationships with each accommodation, and they're real involved in rhino conservation. They have made an agreement with them, or they've really talked them into doing this as a more of a, I don't want to say nonprofit, because that's not the right word. Supporting conservation, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So they've given us really good rates, and we work with several, lots of alumni associations. So each alumni association is doing a safari in Tanzania and then a safari in Kenya per year. So it's $49.50 whether you're doing Tanzania or whether you're doing Kenya. And that's going to stay the same in 2023 as well. So we're not going up on the cost at all in 2023. So it's $49.50 for each safari. We have several people that do both. They'll do Tanzania and then they'll turn around and go do Kenya as well. So the Kenya safari this year is the next safari coming up in July of this year. And then for next year, it's in August. We don't have a date yet, but we should have that soon, but it will be in August. And then for Tanzania, the departure this year is in October, and then it'll be in February in 2023. On the Tanzania safari, I think I mentioned you have the option of doing a pre-Rwanda gorilla trek or a post-safari in Zanzibar. We don't typically, we don't officially offer that for a Kenya safari, but we can do it. It's real easy to set that up. So if somebody wanted to do, a pre or a post safari in Rwanda, we can do that as well as Zanzibar. Okay.
All right.
I think that's it. So I guess we can, if anybody has any questions.
Yes.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Okay. For the, if you want to do the trip for Zanzibar to Rwanda, do you fly into Rwanda or do you fly into Tanzania and go from there?
Yeah. So if you're doing, so for example, you're on the Tanzania trip.
Yeah.
So if you do pre-Rwanda, you fly from the US to Kigali, Rwanda.
Okay.
And you do Rwanda, and then we fly you from Rwanda to Tanzania.
Okay.
So that's included in the Rwanda trip.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you maybe said it, I missed it. What's the airport in Tanzania that you fly in and out of?
It's called Kilimanjaro Airport.
Okay. Okay,
And the
Okay.
code is JRO.
okay, okay,
And then if you're doing Rwanda, the code is KGL. And if you're doing a post extension to Zanzibar, to Tanzania, you would fly out of Dar es Salaam, which is
Okay.
DAR.
okay. And
And
can
we
I
have,
ask,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Can I ask you, what's the weather like in Tanzania in February and March?
It's their summertime, so it's going to be warm with cool mornings and cool evenings. So about 65 degrees in the morning and evening, and then in the daytime, it's usually on average 80 to 85.
Okay, and how about August in Kenya?
That's their winter. So it'll be cooler, I'd say on average about 60s in the morning and in the evenings, and then the afternoon or the daytime would probably average, I'd say, around 70, 75 to 80.
Okay, okay,
No humidity.
okay. And then Regina, I have a question for you.
Yes.
When do you think you'll have, I know it's very early since it's only January. When you think you'll have the 2023 dates of other trips from other,
Yes, well, I'm still working on those. I
Okay.
haven't gotten them from all the tour operators. I do have a couple of trips up there right now. So
yeah,
as they're confirmed, I'm trying to get them up on the website. You know, I try to shoot for, you know, I'd say in the next couple of months, I'll have
Okay.
what I have available. or
Okay,
what I've-
okay.
It's confirmed.
Because the meeting you had last week, I'm really interested in one of those, but you didn't have a date.
Okay.
So, yeah, so,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I should have those dates soon.
okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so, anyway. Any other questions?
Yeah, I see a chat question.
Oh, okay.
What are the shot requirements for Kenya? Are workout opportunities limited? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, as far as COVID protocols, for Kenya, a COVID vaccine, proof of COVID vaccine is required to enter Kenya. That was effective December 21st. It is not required for Tanzania. That may change, but for right now, Tanzania does not require proof of the vaccine, but Kenya does. And currently, you have to have a negative COVID test 72 hours before arrival into Tanzania and 96 hours before arrival into Kenya. And we'll go over all that with people. And to get back to the US, as you probably know, effective, I think it was December 6th, you have to have a negative COVID test to arrive in the US, or actually 24 hours before you board your plane back to the US. And we arrange that test for you in the Serengeti or in the Masai Mara or in Zanzibar, depending on where you are. So we set that up for you.
How about other shots required?
Nothing else is required. There's nothing else required at all. There are some things highly recommended, like malaria precaution for both Tanzania and Kenya, which is a pill you take once a day called Malarone. They also have a generic version that's real inexpensive. Hepatitis A, tetanus shot update. You don't need any yellow fever. Of course, you can look at the CDC requirements because they could change at any time, but it's a real easy trip to prepare for. A lot of people think Africa, oh my gosh, I need 30 shots, and that's not true at all. But malaria precaution, most definitely. And you're not going to see a lot of mosquitoes. I mean, you really don't. I have more probably here in Alabama than I do in East Africa. But if you see a mosquito, it's carrying malaria. So that's the thing, because the population carries malaria. See, are workout opportunities limited? Yes, they are limited because now some accommodations like Four Seasons Serengeti, for example, and obviously in the cities will have like a gym, but at the tented camps, you're not going to have that. And you can't really run around camp for obvious reasons. So, I mean, we have leopard, we have stuff running around camp, so you don't want to do that. But so, we suggest push-ups and sit-ups and running around your tent, your room. I mean, sadly, there's just not a lot of workout options. but it's an active trip. I mean, you're getting in and out of your vehicle. You're, I don't want to say it's an active trip. It's not overly active, but it's you feel like you're being active. Any other questions?
Do you need a visa for Rwanda, Kenya, or Tanzania?
Yes, you need a visa for all.
Okay, do you get them here in the States, or sometimes you could get a visa in the country when you arrive?
You have to get them online.
Okay.
So now Rwanda, you can get it on arrival,
Okay.
or you can get it online, either one. For Tanzania, you get it online, and we give you all that information on how to do that. And in Kenya, you have to get it online as well.
Okay, so you don't have to go through the embassy or anything like that to get a
No.
visa? Oh, okay,
No,
very good.
it's real simple. There's
Okay.
an online link that will give you.
Okay,
And we also have an air consolidator that can also help with airline reservations.
I've had the pleasure of traveling to Tanzania with Safari Legacy, and it was an incredible experience. And not just because of the wildlife, which is wonderful, and you're just amazed what you get to see each day. But it's the guides. The guides were just, Safari Legacy has wonderful guides, and they're so knowledgeable, and just it makes it a great experience. So yeah, I wanted to add that. And then also too, with the hot air balloon ride, I didn't do it with Safari Legacy. I did do it when I went to Kenya with a different operator, but that's an incredible experience as well. And you might think, oh, well, you're way up there, but we were so lucky. We had the opportunity to hear a lion roar while we were up in the air. And then also we saw this lone lion, and there was a vehicle with people outside their car, and we're like yelling at them, trying to, of course they couldn't hear us, but we're like, there's a lion coming your way. It's just amazing what you get to see. So, yeah. Any other questions? Okay. All right.
I do want to say one more thing real quick.
Okay.
I know we're in the middle of COVID craziness, but just to let you know, since July, we've had multiple departures in Tanzania and also in Kenya. So people are traveling. We have a big group leaving with another alumni association February 13th. We've had incredible success navigating the COVID protocols. They've really gone above and beyond in country to make sure that everything is as safe and secure as it can possibly get. All of our staff, all of our guides are vaccinated. We do suggest you bring your own masks and stuff like that. But it's you're really, you're just really with your group. You're not in large tourist lodges, so you're not around a lot of people. So I just want to kind of throw that out there, that now is a great time to go to Tanzania and Kenya because it's not crowded. Travel is coming back. And of course the planes, they're getting more crowded because they've limited, I think, some of their routes. But it's just an excellent opportunity right now to be in East Africa.
Yeah. Henry, do you have anything you'd like to add at all?
You have said all what so I'll be waiting for all of you to arrive in Kenya.
Wonderful. Great, wonderful. Anyone else have any questions? Okay. Stop that share. All right, we do have some prizes to give away. Now I have one person on here that I don't know your name. It's TCFLO is what it's showing on the screen. Can you let me know who you are so that we can add you in the bucket for the door prizes?
Yes. Hi, Regina. It's Ann and John Hagelin.
Oh, okay, wonderful. How you doing?
Good, good. Enjoying these.
I'm gonna add you in the bucket.
Thank you.
Okay.
The safari's on our agenda.
All right, wonderful, wonderful. Great. All right, so Safari Legacy has graciously given us, and this is for either the 2022 or 2023 trips, but they have given us a one of the hot air balloon rides as one of two of the door prizes. So there'll be one for Kenya and one for Tanzania. So I'm going to draw for that. And what's the value of these balloon rides, Jennifer?
It's 520 in Tanzania and 450 in Kenya.
Okay, I'm pulling out of my bucket here. Oh my goodness, John Haglin. And so,
Yay, thank you.
yeah. All right, that was for the Tanzania one, okay? All right, for the Kenya. Okay, I've got Ann Haglin. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go on both safaris now.
Works for me.
Okay. All right, so next
Okay,
week,
Regina,
uh-huh,
we would probably do the Kenya safari.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you wanted to give the other
got the
one.
one away. Okay, all right.
Sure.
That's
Yeah, you
good.
can
Well,
read,
thank
you can, right, you can.
All right, so then we have Matthew Belladou. Matthew, are you there? I see your name. I think that's you.
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. And what we'll do is we'll mail these as like a certificate to you. I'll email it to you, so.
Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, and next I have Michigan State T-shirt. Whoops, upside down here. Okay, and it goes to Janet Leonard.
I'm here.
Hi, what size do you need, Janet?
Is it a unisex or a ladies?
It's more like of a men's size,
Probably a medium.
medium. Okay. All right, I'll mail that out to you. All right, next I have a Michigan State visor. And it goes to Linda Howard. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Regina. I won last time. Should you pass that on to somebody else?
Well, we didn't have a whole lot of people today.
Okay, I'll take
you know,
it's
I
given,
think
I'll
we,
take it.
I think we might have enough for everybody.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Next we have Michigan State cap. Okay. And that goes to Barb Goodman. Is Barb still there? Oh, looks like she left us. Okay. All right. Well, I can give that to, well, oh, I'm done. I don't have any more. Oh, Marie. Marie, I didn't have you in there. What
Oh
happened?
dear.
Okay. Well, I'll give you the option. How's that? The cap, or would you like a Michigan State football frame?
I'll take the cap.
Okay. All right. I don't know what happened. I saw your name before. I don't know what happened to your card.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. If you have questions regarding the Safari Legacy tours that we're offering, the Kenya and Tanzania trips, you can reach out to me, which you can find my information in the email that I sent you regarding the presentation. Or you can give me a call at 888-697-2863. You can also get a hold of Jennifer. She's wonderful. She very accommodating, gets back with you very quickly. And she can be reached at, is it 205-621-2664. So I'll
Actually-
put this in a follow-up email as well.
Actually, do my cell phone. That's probably better.
Oh, okay.
205, yeah, 205-706-0306.
0306. Okay. All right. I will include that in my post email to all of you. So thank you all for attending very much. And I look forward to better days ahead for travel. We are seeing an uptick in reservations. So hopefully we'll see you join us. Okay. Take
Okay.
care and go green. And thank you, Jennifer and Henry, very
All
much
right.
for this.
Thank
and
you,
for
Regina.
supplying the hot air balloons ride.
Okay,
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.